We've been hearing a lot about 5G in the US over the last 12 months, but on Friday, things are going to take a major step forward. T-Mobile's turning on its low-band 5G nationwide network that it says will cover 200 million people. T-Mobile's also launching two new phones designed for this flavor of 5G. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G, a $1,300 Note from Samsung, and this guy, the OnePlus 7T Pro 5G McLaren from OnePlus. This phone is $900 and it's what we've been using for the past few days to test out T-Mobile's 5G network in New York City. We have full 5G service where we are in New York, so let's see how fast T-Mobile's network really is. Let's use NetflixFast.com. We're going to run a speed test right now. And these are pretty good speeds. We're getting between 40, 50 megabits per second. Right now it's about 30s, but in some earlier tests we're getting 40s and 50s. And that's pretty good, but it's in line with what you'll see with 4G LTE. It's not radically game-changing like some other 5G networks that use millimeter wave, including T-Mobile's own, which is also live in New York City. T-Mobile's not the only one to launch a 5G network on a frequency different than the high-band millimeter wave that's been used by Verizon, AT&T, and even T-Mobile in some areas. Sprint actually has 5G in 9 cities on what's known as mid-band, or a middle ground between the low-band 5G network T-Mobile's launching on Friday and the high-frequency band that Verizon's been touting in 18 cities across the country. New York actually is one of those cities, so let's compare T-Mobile's low-band 5G network to Sprint's mid-band 5G network. So on my left, this phone is Sprint's Galaxy S10 5G. This works with Sprint's mid-band 5G network. On my right, of course, is the OnePlus 7T Pro 5G McLaren, which uses T-Mobile's low-band 5G. Let's use a Fast.com speed test and see which one is better. So both off to some slow starts, roughly comparable. But as we can see here, Sprint on the left, which is using mid-band, getting around 70 megabits per second. T-Mobile, which is using low-band 5G, 21 megabits per second. So we're thankfully back inside now. One of the best parts about low-band 5G is that unlike millimeter wave, which only works really outside and on a handful of street corners, low-band does really well indoors. So we have a full 5G signal here in our CNET studio, and let's see how fast low-band works compared to LTE. We have over here on the left the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G, which works with T-Mobile's millimeter wave 5G network, but does not work with the low-band network, so it's using 4G LTE here. And of course, the OnePlus 7T Pro 5G McLaren, which works with the low-band 5G network. It does not work with T-Mobile's millimeter wave. So the OnePlus is on the 5G network, the Galaxy is on the 4G network. Let's see which one's faster. We're gonna run the same test on Fast.com. So as you can see on the left, the 4G network is getting about 7 to 8 megabits per second, whereas the 5G network is getting over 20. Big jump for 5G, and that's a pretty nice improvement indoors that you might be able to expect, at least with this early wave of 5G phones. In addition to having a network that works both indoors and outside, T-Mobile also isn't charging extra for 5G, which is a nice perk compared to what AT&T and Verizon are doing, where they require you to have one of their more recent unlimited plans in order to tap into 5G. Now the big question, of course, is it time to buy a 5G phone? Well, while this is a step in the right direction, the answer is still probably not. While T-Mobile's network is better with 5G, and it in some cases much better, for the most part, our experiences in New York have been that it's pretty similar to the 4G LTE network that it's had for years. It's very fast, it's very good, and again, in some places it's even better than what it's had before, but it's still very much early days. It's also worth keeping in mind that devices that work with all three flavors of 5G, the low band that T-Mobile is launching with 200 million people this week, the millimeter wave that it's putting in dense urban areas, and that mid-band that it's hoping to acquire with Sprint, phones that work on all three networks are expected to arrive in 2020, so it may be best to hold off your 5G upgrade until then.